Well, good morning, everybody. This is Scott Buckholz. It is Saturday, September 4th. It is Labor Day weekend, and we are really excited that you guys have not only taken an hour out of your Saturday morning to be with us, but also on a Labor Day weekend. So we have an incredible property tour in store for you today. Umair Haq is one of our leaders in our community. He is one of our students. He's just a major investor. He's been doing lots of different properties around the country, and he uses lots and exercises several different strategies. He's going to be sharing a property down in South Carolina today. Um, and so I don't want to get into any more of his time. So without further ado, I'd like to bring Umair out because he's got a ton of content, a ton of value to add. Uh, Go ahead and take it away, Umair.
Awesome. Awesome. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully everyone's doing awesome. Scott, thanks so much for the nice and kind words, man. Like, it's so cool. I've met so many good friends. Like, I know me and Scott, we're going to be friends for a long time. So today's about making some new friends and hanging out and going through one of our recent projects. And so I'm excited to share with you guys. I'm going to share my screen. I do have a pretty cool PowerPoint set up. Now, guys, we're doing a lot of business, both local to where we live and across the country. And I love that I can make passive income virtually, literally anywhere. So I guess what I'm going to do is just real quickly go through my story. I'll go through my deal, and then I'll actually go through a number of deals and show you how you can start doing the same thing, right? And Scott, you can jump in, ask questions. You guys, this is about everyone here, right? So real quick, my name is Umair, like Scott said, and today we're going to be doing a virtual property tour. So I'm not at the physical property, but I've got some video clips, and I've built a whole team to create passive income in different parts of the country. So me and my wife, we run this business together, and I originally found out about real estate just online. I was on YouTube. I was on BiggerPockets. I was going through a lot of different workshops, and I actually ran into this group, and I got some information online, and it was everything that I could think of to help me be a successful real estate investor. And here we are. So me and my wife do this full time. Of course, I had to, it was like pulling teeth getting her to leave her full-time job. But since we've been able to 10x our income, and you're here because we want to share so you can copy in some success. So with that being said, I'm going to go through my deal now. Again, I didn't say this yet, but I live in the Washington, D.C. area. And so houses around me, it's a lot like San Francisco. They're a little 3-bedroom, 2-bath Rambler is $500,000. And so we do fix and flips. I've developed some land here. I do different projects in my area. But for a good cash on cash return, I wanted to go to different markets because there's different markets for different things, right? So let me get into this project. So this is a little house. And within 1 year, well, about 14 months, all right, a little over a year, we were able to create a $10,000 a month revenue. And so it doesn't have to take 30 years or even 5 years if you guys know what you're doing. And I'm going to illustrate the model that we're doing. And I'll also give you guys some step-by-step directions. Like if you're in the group, I'm going to tell you exactly what coursework I took and how I went about approaching this business model. Now, results aren't typical, but you guys can create a pretty large income stream in a short amount of time if you have the right knowledge, resources, tools, and the right team. And we might be the right team for you. All right. So we're doing this virtually. So this is a small little house, and I'll go into the different ways that we're going to create additional revenue instead of just having a rental. All right. So this is a little cinder block built house on 14,000 square feet. And it's got some land, and I've got some ideas that I'm going to share with you because I'm all about increasing the revenue that comes out of the different businesses that we are currently running through real estate investing. So let me just show you guys the outside of this. And hold on, let me go back. So I want you to pay attention to the left-hand side because it's a quick walkthrough of the exterior, just a simple house. And I'll show you how we're running this thing. So let me play the video. So this is just the outside, guys. In a rural area. I like going where there's no competition. So, and I'll show you guys the numbers right after this, and I'll be able to answer your questions. The sun's going to get in the way when I get to the other side, but hey, it is what it is. Now, within just this business model, I'm going to show you guys, you can create an over 6-figure business. So it's going to be exciting. So guys, that's the outside. I know I don't have too much, but I'm going to be here to be able to answer questions and help you guys on your journey. All right. Now let me go to the next slide. So I've built a system, not me. Well, I've used the processes and systems that the group has given me to basically build a rental business that is pretty much hands off. I've gone through some obstacles and I'm going to be going through that with you guys, but I've got property managers, a really good attorney, subcontractors, all in this area that I am building a rental business, right? So this video that I'm going to show you here, this is when my property manager went in to inspect it to make sure it's a property that I wanted to buy, right? And we love each other. We've got a really good relationship. And I can even go into some details on how I built my team, because this is 8 hours from where I am. Okay, so I've been buying properties virtually all year. It's been awesome. So check this out. So this is my manager walking through
145 Calvary Road. Living room.
Just a simple house.
Kitchen. Nice. Bedroom number 1.
Now I'm just giving you an interior walkthrough before we bought it, and then I'll show you. I had to actually drive down. It wasn't something I was expecting on doing. So I'll talk to you guys about that in a moment. So if you're in an area where like these houses, hold on, I'll go into details about it.
So Amir, I'm a little bit like a kid in a candy store or the Christmas morning. I don't know if anybody else is thinking about this. So you're telling everybody that you live in the DC, Virginia market, and you acquired a property in South Carolina using a video.
Yeah, guys. I mean, if you really leverage the resources and tools that the group provides,
for the window unit.
it's just amazing what can happen.
Designated outlet for the refrigerator.
So this is just my manager giving me all the details. And we sat and talked. We talk about every property that we buy together.
That's a designated outlet for the washer. Oh, that 220 line right there. Washer hookup. And that's that designated outlet for the washer.
And you're probably wondering, Umair, you have no refrigerator, you have no appliances. What's going on here? I got you. Don't worry. I'll explain to you my model.
So this is GFI protected. That's not the same circuit as the bathroom, though, right? No. You got it. Okay, so Okay.
So we get basic houses, and I'll show you how we provide value to the marketplace. Now, those are two of my guys that do all of the handyman stuff, subcontracting. If something happens, I never have to worry about it, even if I'm on vacation. Like right now is the best time of the month for me because between the 1st and the 5th, our business bank account gets flooded with rent checks. And this is what I've always wanted. I've always wanted passive income. So that was when my manager walked through it. Now, my manager actually got COVID, everybody. My manager got COVID and I love him. I care about him. He's in the hospital last week. He is recovering, but not last week, but 2 weeks ago, because I just bought this property. So I had to drive down to South Carolina unexpectedly because the way I work closing is I give the power of attorney to my manager, which I trust. Now, one of the things is I should have had some backups and I didn't, right? But it was a really good trip. I went down there and looked at all of my houses. So it was a good experience, although, I didn't anticipate having to drive down there. So this is when after I bought it, and I walked through it just myself. So I'm going to play the video for you guys and we will leave room for questions. So just bought this, got the keys, another cash flowing unit. This is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath little house. We bought it cash and the play here is to finance it to someone, all right? You'll see a quick walkthrough one more time, and then I'm going to go through the numbers and explain to you guys.
Like we have our tenants get our own, all their own stuff. And, that's it.
Okay, so you've seen the walkthrough twice, but most of my deals happen virtually. And like Scott, I'm in multiple states as well. We're in South Carolina, getting into Tennessee and Indiana, because once you get a process down for your business, you can duplicate that across the country. And so I'm just so excited about this. Again, within 1 year with the education and the group and the tools, we've been able to create a $10,000 a month revenue stream. Now, that is not gross, it's net. I mean, so after taxes, after insurance, maybe even a little deferred maintenance, we've created about $100,000 income stream in just 1 year. And to top it off, guys, we were able to do this with $0 out of our own pocket. And I'm just so excited to share this with you guys. So let me go into some details now. Oh, did I show you guys that? So yeah, so this is just one little house. We currently have 19 units. I bought a number of them in a package together from one seller. And all of these houses are close to a small mobile home park that I own as well. So it's just, I don't know, maybe God was working in my favor, or I just chose to invest in myself. And now because I did that, it's paying dividends. Okay. So let me go through the numbers on this. And if you're in like a market like Washington, DC or California, this is going to blow your mind. I didn't even know this was possible for me, right? So here are the numbers, guys. I purchased this unit for $32,000, believe it or not. Like that's how much like a Toyota Camry cost. My dad bought Toyota Camrys growing up. So it was like 32 G's, right? And we all know that's a depreciating liability. So I put a little bit of money into this because there's some little things that after we bought that we did. So my rehab was just $15,000. So I'm all in for about $35,000 because there was closing cost and there was other things that went along with this. So my all-in cost were 35 grand on this little house. Now, my model here is we're buying them cash, but not with our cash. We took I'll give you all the coursework I learned, but I learned how to raise private capital using retirement accounts, which I didn't even know was possible I used to think I had to go to a bank to buy property. It's just not true. Now, I leverage the banks a lot on other deals, but not with this model. So I purchased for 32. Let me get a pen to write on this so you guys can see. So I purchased it for 32. We put a little bit of money into it because of taxes and insurance. You know, we're all in at 35. Now, the model here, now, if you're new to real estate investing, you can buy on options and you can sell on options. There's lots of ways to do creative real estate investing. In fact, working with our team and group, you're going to learn about both creative acquisition strategies and creative financing strategies. They're two different things that a lot of times people get mixed up with. So I sell them usually so I put ads out for a rent to buy type of situation, right? So I rent these things out to buy. So what I did here is I put a sign out and I said rent to buy. I've got lots of inquiries. And they're like, hey, how does that work? How does that work? How does that work? Because there's a lot of people that just don't understand credit. And they're not bad people. They just don't really get credit. So they want the American dream, but they can't get financing from a bank. So I provide value to the marketplace by once a tenant buyer proves themselves to me that they can be responsible, that they can take care of the home, I turn around and finance them the properties. And I learned how to do it with this group. I didn't make this stuff up. I just copied other investors doing it and molded the investing strategies to work for my personality. You guys with me? That's what I want you to do, okay? So I buy them with private capital, right? So with privately raised funds. And I learned, because if you don't raise capital correctly, the SEC will get you, the Securities and Exchange Commission. So you want to make sure you're following the rules, right? So I'm raising capital, I'm taking care of my investors. And typically I give my investors like a 7 to 10% return, annual return. So I'm buying them. I may put a little rehab into it. And then what I'm requesting from my tenant buyers, I'm like, look, tenant buyer, what you're going to do is you're going to rent this thing for me for 24 months. Okay. 24 months or 2 years, right? So they're making rent payments to me. But up front, I collect an option fee. So they put a down payment down of $3,000 or $5,000 or whatever I negotiate. So they give me some money up front. And that option is for the right to purchase my property at a set price at a later date. Okay. So they give me $3,000 down or $5,000 down or whatever it is. I collect an option and I tell my tenant buyers, hey, look, I'm going to credit whatever you give me up front towards your purchase price when I finance you this home. Now, for my beginners on here, I'm going to say this up front. Some of what I say may go over your head. It's okay. Just take as many notes as you can. And whoever invited you here, you're gonna have a guide. We're gonna be able to help you understand and implement these strategies, okay? So I purchased it cash using private money, put a little bit of money into it. I'm all in at 35 grand. I sell this on a rent to buy. I make my tenant buyer give me I don't make them, but I say, hey, look, you gotta give me a down payment. I wanna make sure they're responsible and they have some savings and some money there. Then we'll rent it to them for $700 a month for 24 months. Now, once they've proven themselves and they've made rent on time, then I turn around and sell this property on what we call a contract for deed. Contract, this is my scribble scrabble, just write this down, a contract for deed. And it allows me to really explode my cash flow, okay? Now, let me see what I got next on here. So
hey, Umair, can I jump in real quick?
No, jump in a lot. I want you guys to learn.
No, I'm not gonna slow you down because I just love listening to your deals and how you came up with the strategies and how you found the deals, everything. But we're gonna have a lot of people on here today, whether they're already a part of our community or they're just checking this out and they want to learn about real estate investing and they want to connect with the group. They might be sitting here watching you going, there's no way I'll be able to do this ever. Can you backtrack a little bit and tell everybody, like, when you found this group, like you were doing like 2 or 3 jobs delivering pizza. I
Yeah.
mean, can you tell them that? Because it is amazing what Umair and Yas have done together as a team. And so if you're sitting there right now going, wait a minute, this is unbelievable. I'll never, I just can't do that. I don't know if I could figure this stuff out. Umair, where were you at when you found our community? What were you doing and all that?
Yeah, so honestly, I never even knew that I would be a real estate investor growing up. I was an athlete, I was a personal trainer, and like Scott says, because he knew my story, guys, I was working a lot of different, like I guess side hustles. I used to deliver food in the DC area for a company called Postmates. And so, I mean, I didn't know anything about real estate. I was never an agent or a contractor. But when I found this team, they're like, hey, look, we've got this process that takes people from novices to advanced investors. And then I literally spoke to other people that followed the same process that I now have. It gave me some confidence. And so I started off with zero knowledge on real estate, and I followed the same process that Scott did. And so now some of the things that I say, especially for a beginner, might go over your head, but I knew nothing about real estate investing. I was just a novice. And so there are phases that you're going to go through. And there's really 3 phases that all of us go through. And I can go into some details about that towards the end of this. But yeah, I mean, you can literally, once you start understanding this stuff, because for me, I didn't want to jump into something if I didn't understand it. So once I got clarity on how the process works and the system and the ecosystem in the group, I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. Okay. So hopefully that helped. Now this is just a recent deal that I did, but within 1 year, I've been able to do 19 of these projects virtually. And so I will go into the details in logistics if you guys have questions. So I'm buying these houses with private capital in a nutshell. I'm giving my private capital investors a rate of return that they wouldn't earn if their money's just sitting in a savings account or even a retirement account. So I'm offering my private capital money. They love me, and I'm pocketing the cash flow. Okay. So that's basically how the deals are working now. This has been going so well that I'm more than happy to share all the other deals. So I've got a lot of properties, and I'm buying more. I was like, honey, what if we can create a revenue of $250,000 a year just with our rental business? And my wife didn't believe it. She goes, Umair, it's not as easy as you think. I said, I know it's not going to be easy, but if we can create a process and copy what the other investors in the classes were doing, why can't we do it? Like if they're doing it, why can't we do it? And so now we've just been copying what we've been taught, and it's been going really well for us, really, really well. And so just to show you guys other deals, I was like, hey, instead of just one, how about I just share a lot of the different ones that we're doing? And I'll show you guys like the banks are getting really wealthy using this strategy. And I was like, why don't I learn how to be the bank? Does anyone on here want to learn how to be the bank? I'll show you guys how banks work. So this is another one, guys. And I bought a 8 property package together. I negotiated a deep discount with this, but this is another one I bought for 18. I put a $10,000 into it. So I'm in again for I'm never in for more than $45,000, or I haven't been for less than that yet. So I'm all in for 30 on this one. Now, my tenant buyer pays an option, right? And I collect that up front. Then they rent it from me for 24 months. And as long as they make on-time payments, I turn around and I finance them the property for the price that I create, right? So usually if the fair market value in the area is like 60 grand, because I'm doing my tenant buyer a favor by financing it, I charge a little bit more. So I create a note like a bank does, right? So I'm the bank, and my wife laughs all the time because my name's Umair, right? I call it Bank of Umerica. I was like, welcome to Bank of Umerica. I was like, I will finance you your home today. What do you need? What do you want? Right? So I basically I buy it with no money out of pocket. And because I understand business now, I create a note. And if you guys want to learn about notes, my mentor, his name is Jeffrey Armstrong. He's actually, I believe he's the fourth largest private note broker in America. And he's taught me everything, right? Him and another guy, his name is Tony Scotti. I'm going to introduce you to all my mentors, right? But they taught me how to be the bank. So I got a question for everyone listening right now. If I'm doing these deals with no money out of pocket, what's my return on investment? What's my ROI? Can anyone answer that? If you can answer that, put it in the chat box. Anyone? Great. There you go, baby. Guys, I'm creating an infinite rate of return. And it's really because I took the time to understand. I just, it's a different language. Like when you get into different places of work, like if I have a lot of IT professionals that invest with me, and when they start talking IT language, my eyes they gloss over. I don't understand that language. And if you're a beginner right now, it's not that you're not smart enough, that you don't have enough resources, it's that you don't speak the language yet. And so what our group does is it helps for regular people like you and me to begin understanding the language and then start speaking it as a real estate investor. Okay.
Umair, you've talked about several of the classes and several of the mentors. We share those mentors. You and I are taking those classes together, not at the same time, because it's a beautiful thing about being around the country and being a part of online education. One of the cool things that I don't think a lot of people realize, you've done like 19 of these things, and I'm sure you and Yaz have a goal to be X amount of numbers in a year from now. But what a lot of people don't know, because they don't have the access to the tax and legal knowledge that you and I have been gaining. Option fees, guys, are not taxable.
Yeah. And that's a great point, Scott. And so when I spoke to because I was like, I'm going to have my own legal counsel. I never even believed that, because I had so many limiting beliefs when I started, because guys, I don't have I don't have a college degree. And I used to really get down on myself for that, because maybe I felt like I wasn't smart enough, because I tried to go to the community college here, in the Virginia area. And, they were just my associate's degree, it was going to cost me about $30,000. And they were teaching me things like art. Like they had me taking an art class. And so I was like, this is not going to help me become wealthy. So I just chose to step out of that. So if you're a part of the team right now, I'm going to give you the coursework that I recommend that you definitely go through if you want to copy the model that I'm giving you today. Okay. And because what I did in the beginning, so let me get my pen out and I'm going to draw this out for you guys. In phase.
Can I throw, Mary? We got several really good questions. Can I throw a couple at you right now?
Let's do it.
So obviously you're talking about the option fee, about renting it to someone who wants to buy it, things like that. Here's a question from Alvin. If the tenant is late on any of their monthly payments, or he actually says monthly lease payments, does that affect their option to buy?
Oh man, that's such a good question. It cancels their option out. So it cancels it. So they understood. I am the first person that they pay, because they really want home ownership. They want the American dream. So before they go pay their cell phone and their car, they make sure they pay me first. Because remember, the ball's in their court and they've got to prove themselves to me. In my relationship with the tenants, it's always a win-win, but I have to keep some leverage on them. Are you guys with me? So if they don't make their on-time payments for 24 months, it actually cancels out their option. And that's in my option agreement paperwork. And my option and my lease agreement are two separate things, but they kind of work together. It's like,
and I would imagine, Umair, that's not going to happen very often, if ever.
Never.
Why would someone pass on the opportunity to own a home, to lose their option fee? I see what an incredible strategy. That is just
Now,
awesome.
now let me say this, Scott. Like, if they're struggling, if something bad happens, if I am an understanding person. And in fact, while they're renting from me for 24 months, on a couple of them, I'm actually helping my tenants get their credit better with our credit specialist. This guy's name is Eric Counts. You'll get to know him. And we have everything people need. But what I'm doing now is I'm working with my tenants to help them get their credit better. Because if they can cash me out with a traditional bank and I don't have to finance them, that's okay as well. That's okay as well. And so I'm from the instructors that I'm copying, I've learned how to provide value to the marketplace. Because what I found is all the good businesses in the world, all the good real estate investors, they always provide more value than what they take from the marketplace. And I was like, well, if I'm going to really build wealth, I need to learn how to do that. And so I'm doing just that. So
That's amazing. So what is, a couple more quick ones here. So what is the time frame on the rate of return for most of your investors? So, like on that particular deal that you were sharing a minute ago where you're all in at 35. So what, like if you've got an investor that's your private lender on this, what is their time frame on that?
So if whatever we negotiate, and again, with my private capital, the cheaper I can get my money, the more profit I can make, but I want to make sure they're happy with the returns I'm giving them. So let's just say, let me give you an example. So let's say I bought a house and some of these houses I have bought for 30 grand. Let me see. And I'm sorry, I didn't have time to finish my whole PowerPoint. So here's one, 367 Bamba, right? So I raised $30,000 from one guy. He had money just sitting in a savings account. I gave that private investor what we call a first lien position. So they're secure, they're protected, right? And I bought this at a discount. Now I gave the investor for this property a 10% return. I was like, well, what are you used to making? He goes, well, I just got my money sitting in a savings account. It's not doing anything. And so I was like, well, when you factor in inflation, Mr. Investor, you're actually losing money. And so we ended up negotiating. I was like, look, sir, I will give you 10%. 10%. He goes, 10%. Okay. And it's secured by the asset. So, and I'm like, yes, sir. Right. So I bought this for 30 grand. I gave him 10% interest. So 10% in a year on 30 grand is $3,000. All right. So I give the investor $3,000 and I let them choose. I said, would you like your interest payment up front? Because I've got my own liquidity. Would you like your interest payment every month? Would you like me to send you a check every month? Or would you prefer to earn that interest payment on the back end after a year? And so I just let them choose, right? So now if I raise that $30,000 up front and I give them 10%, right, which is $3,000, I collect that $3,000 from my tenant buyer up front. So my option actually covers the interest that I owed my investor for the year, and then I pocket the rent. So basically, because of my know-how, I'm learning how to create win-win-win situations. You guys with me here? Is this making sense?
That is amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
So and the more relationships I create, like this investor that's on this deal, right? What has happened is he went and told his friends that he's a real estate investor now, and he's working with this guy named Umair. And so his friends want to play too. And so now I'm like trying to find deals because there's people that want to make 10% returns like the investor. So it's just been a phenomenal experience. And so I'm going to take this thing. I told my wife, I said, honey, let's try to create $250,000 with just this business model. And she goes, all right. And so she's on board and it's been really good. So let me go through the coursework that I'm going to tell you guys specifically what I paid attention to when I was going through this. So up front, I've never had a sales job. I've never known how to, I never sold anything before I got into real estate, basically. So I had to learn a couple of things about working with people. So in the very beginning, what I did is I took a class on negotiations. can't even spell negotiations, right? I took a class on negotiations. In addition to that, I learned from this guy, his name's Jay, and you can learn from him too, something called real estate sales success. It's about a 6-hour course, real estate sales success. And these two classes allowed me to negotiate with my sellers, because you got to buy properties at a discount. I don't want to buy at retail. Okay. So negotiations and real estate sales success were really, really important as I started doing this business model 14 months ago, right? Because I've been doing this for a little over a year. Now, with your rental business, guys, rental income is not taxed like W-2 income. And so I save a lot of money by understanding high-level tax and legal strategies. And I want you guys to learn the tax and legal stuff the same way me and Scott did. Like Scott right now is building a development, and he's going to make a big check, right? A big check. But the beauty of what we've put together in our team is the investors don't have to worry about paying high capital gains tax, okay? Because me and Scott understand these strategies when it comes to taxes and setting up your entities in the proper way. Okay, so negotiations, real estate sales success, understanding high-level tax and legal strategies with an emphasis on the lease options courses, lease options. Because again, guys, you can buy on options and you can sell on options. And so I really want you guys to think about this. I'm going to reiterate the model again, because I know a lot of you guys are beginners and you're going to need some hand-holding with the group, right? Because the group has really supported me. When I'm learning with my mentors. We hang out every single week, because for me, it's like, I didn't need just information. I needed an environment that empowers me every week. And so that's kind of what we do here. So with that being said, let me give you an overview again. So I buy for dirt cheap. So I'm buying properties for, like 30 grand, and then I'm selling them on leases with options up front. So up front, we do a lease with an option. And then when my tenant buyer is ready to exercise his or her right, I'm selling these things on a note or a contract for deed. And if you don't know these strategies, I highly recommend you look into learning them and implementing them like I did. So I'm selling them on a note or a lease with an option. So if I buy with no money out of pocket, and then I act as the bank. So I bought it with no money out of pocket, but because I understand how the banks work, I'm able to sell this same property for $79.9, right? Because I create the note. So I want to teach you guys how to instantly create wealth like my mentors have. Another one of my mentors is a guy, he's one of our educators, one of our instructors. His name's Bill. And Bill has really taught me. He goes, Umair, you can learn to be the bank with no money out of pocket. I was like, there's no way that's possible. I was like, that's got to be some scam, or it's got to be something fake. But no, now I get it. And now I'm doing it. And I want you guys to get it, right? Everyone deserves to be able to live life on their terms. So I'm buying them with no money out of pocket. And initially for the 24 months, we're doing a lease with an option. And then I turn around and sell it on a note or a contract for deed. But when I get the opportunity to be the bank, I make up the purchase price. You guys with me? So I create the note, and now I sell it to my buyer for a little bit more than fair market value. Okay, so now what happens, guys, is they pay me on this house. So this is Bank of Umerica. They pay me on this house. And let's suppose, I'm gonna play some scenarios, guys. Let's suppose I have a family emergency. And instead of just making little monthly payments, instead of earning $700 a month, instead of just earning that, let's say, man, I need to cash out on this deal. Like I need a lump sum of 50 grand or 60 grand. Well, guys, I've been taught multiple exit strategies. So let's say I'm holding on to this property as the bank, and this tenant buyer is making me payments on like a 15-year mortgage or a 30-year mortgage, whatever that is, right? But let's say I need a big check. Well, I'm not worried about it because in this group, I've got access to note buyers, right? People who want to buy notes, and I can cash myself out on this note any day, any day. So when people now, like I used to think that real estate investing was risky, but that's before I became knowledgeable. Okay, real estate's not risky. It's a lack of knowledge and understanding on how investments work. That's what makes it risky, everybody. So I'm hoping you guys learned something. Let's open it up for questions. And again, hopefully this is helping.
Umair, there are several questions in the chat room. I don't know if you want me to read them to you, if you'd like to take a look at them.
Let me check them
But,
out.
but before you start, would you like to talk about, because we have a great event right after this.
Yeah.
If people are on today and they really love what they're hearing and they want to learn more about our community and about the education and about our mentors and our collaboration, could you share a little bit about that? Because it's on a different link. So
Yes,
could you
sir.
talk
Yes,
about
sir.
that a little bit?
Yes, sir. So actually right after this, I'm going to be going through how we could be hanging out every week. I'm going to be going through our real estate investing group, our team, our coursework, and how you can copy what I'm doing or what Scott's doing, right? Or what other investors in our group are doing. Right after this, on a separate link, you're going to contact whoever invited you here and spend another 90 minutes with me going through our business model. We're going to be doing some trainings. We can get to know each other better. The chat boxes are going to be open. So if you'd like to join me, we're starting in 15 minutes. I'm going to be going through our business model and how you can start leveraging a team that's winning. So contact whoever got you to this training if that's what you want to jump on. It's going to be hanging out with me a little bit longer. So thanks for throwing that out there. So I've got about 5 minutes. So let's do some questions, folks. This is a good one. Do you think the current housing market is turning into a buyer's market as COVID declines? It will, right? Because markets go up and down. But what I'm here to share with you guys is it doesn't matter what the marketplace is doing, whether the market's going up or there's a market that's going down. There's a strategy for that. And on the next training, I'm going to show you guys how you can all learn to become what we call transactional engineers, right? But those are really good questions, okay? Now, we are in a seller's market right now, but yes, every 7 to 10 years, what we've seen historically, that there's a correction of some sort. So when the market crashes, investors that know what they're doing, they end up making more money. Isn't that crazy? There's a reason. Now I finally understand. I used to get so mad because we grew up, we didn't have a lot of money. At one point, my family was on food stamps when we first came to America anyways, right? Because we're foreigners. And I used to have this limiting belief that rich people or wealthy people were bad. And it's just so far from the truth. Wealthy people keep getting wealthy because they take the time to understand the strategies. But the beauty of America is the strategies are available to all of us. We just got to get committed to them. So any other questions? Let me see. So Anton, Umair, I'm guessing these are tiny towns in the middle of nowhere, far from metro areas, so jobs might not be as plentiful or well paying. Can you address the cons, specifically investing in rural areas? I'm sure there are different risks associated with, yes, versus metro areas. Yes, yes, yes. So for me, there really hasn't been any cons other than the mentality of the people in these rural areas. But I took some classes on personality traits. It's called the drive classes, and even those drive classes helped me to build my team. Because if we don't understand people and working with different personalities, our success as entrepreneurs goes down tremendously. I loved the rural areas, and I feel like in business, we got to go where no one else is and be able to provide value in those places. And so there really hasn't been too many cons. These are the people in these towns. These are the people that work at gas stations. They work at Walmarts. They work at factories. Okay. So for me, there hasn't really been too many cons yet. But again, I've been doing this a year. right? I've been able to create a $10,000 a month income stream within a year. Now, as time goes on, I will, if you're a part of the group and team, I'll be able to share more with you. But so far, this has been an amazing experience because my tenant buyers love me because I'm helping them get home ownership. And I really like that because I feel like I'm actually helping people rather than just taking advantage of them. And they're okay with paying a premium for the house. So I don't know. I mean, with this strategy, the tenant is responsible for covering a lot of the maintenance. They are because of the way we've specifically designed our leases, right? Because I want them to prove to themselves and to prove to me that they can handle homeownership. I don't want to set up people for failure. Okay. Now, I specifically sell on a contract for deed. And you got to look at the state laws and understand it. But because when I sell on a contract for deed, I don't have to pay the taxes and insurance anymore. That goes on to the tenant buyer. You guys with me? So it's so cool. There's so many ways for you guys to explode your cash flow this year. And I want to help you guys do that working with this team. Okay. Guys, it's 11:47. I'm going to hop on that next meeting. If there's any last minute questions, or if Scott, if you have anything, throw it out there. I love you, brother. Thank you for helping me do this. So it's been good.
What an incredible property tour. You have shared so many golden nuggets today, and just, what you've accomplished, when we first met 5 years ago, has just been amazing. Just amazing. I think about it, I just smile ear to ear, man, when I think of you and Yaz and everything you've accomplished. And what's even cooler than that, I hinted on this earlier about, you being a great investor, a great leader. You're a great person, and you pay it forward. You help so many people out. And that's what I focus on as well, is trying to help as many people as I can. And so thank you very much. I do want to make sure everybody knows we do these property tours every Saturday. Next Saturday, guys, we are going to have a little different time zone, where our time slot, we're going to be at 1 o'clock Eastern next Saturday. So that's 2-hour shifts. And I am going to be the featured investor. Imagine that. I get to go and show, because I've got like 9 deals going on in 3 different states. So I get to go and show my 1900 Victorian house that we are rehabbing. And so I will be live on site. I won't have as many fancy slides as you had today. I'll be actually live. Yeah, they're fancy for me. So I'll be on site. And then the next Saturday, the 18th, we'll be in Virginia. We'll be in your backyard.
Nice.
Not at your property, where I think we're going to do an Anton and Mary's property.
Yeah.
So, guys, we love that you guys took an hour out. I really hope you've taken away some value and you've taken away some gold nuggets. Like Umair said, get back to who invited you today. If you can't make the business introduction right after this on a separate link, we have all kinds of things that we can plug you into. We've got all kinds of value-added type experiences you guys can be a part of. So Amir, thank you very much. Love you, brother. It's been a great property tour. We look forward to seeing you guys, and we'll see you guys definitely on our next property tour.
Make it happen, team. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.